Hello! It's that time again where I have no idea what I'm doing and we're going to spend 2 hours figuring that one out. Cool. So I'm actually on time today, which is awesome. We're not starting late. So today we will be building sharks in your area. Made some mistakes in some tabs. Anyway, so I do want to get a feel for how chat's doing today. So how has today's Global Hack Week been? Already calling out the Blahaj stack. I purposely changed the way that the chat messages display just to make sure that they would be on display constantly and never blocked out. But yeah, how has today's Global Hack Week been? Or today's Global Hack Day, I guess, of the week. And also I believe, belated / questionably on time happy birthday to Mary, my favorite MLHer ever. Okay, there's actually I have a lot of favorite MLHers ever, to be honest, but Mary right now is the most important, and it's now Mary's birthday week, and I have declared it as such. Mary deserves all the love. But right, let's get talking about what we're doing today. I am also exhausted, and I can't wait to go to sleep. But that's not going to be for a few more hours because I'm here with y'all, which is a good thing. I'm really excited for today's project. So, like I said, we'll be talking about sharks in your area. So there's some background on this project. I made this project when I was a junior. No, a sophomore, actually. When I was like, I don't know what APIs are. I don't know what JSONs are. I just want to make fun of a family member of mine who does not like sharks. And I don't mean that I'm a terrible human being and that I make fun of all my family. I mean that in my family, some of the lighter, fun things to be made fun of end up happening. And so my dad helped me out because it was technically his brother with telling me where my uncle was and everything. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go find this shark data so I can get it to text him and tell him there's a shark 50 miles away. Terrible, terrible joke. He blocked the number right after he got any form of messages from this thing until I told him. And he's like, send it again. And he's like, yeah, I blocked it because it talked about sharks. I hated it. But good job. So we're going to make a version 2 of this. I know there's already a shark tracker app on the phone by the very people I stole data from, scraped data from. But we're going to use that as our basis because it was my first project. We have all these Blahages behind me, Blahage gang, etc. That it felt good to bring it back to the right crowd and maybe come up with something better because it definitely was very hacked together. So we're going to do better this time. Nobody needs to see that old project, mostly because I actually don't think it exists anymore. Google has deleted so many of its various things that I don't know that I can actually find that old code. Hello to people that are joining. Today we'll be starting part 1 of our shark tracking app. We are not going to be doing what the original shark tracking app already does, which my idea came before it. We're just remaking a version 2 of it. We'll make some adjustments. So let me go ahead and share my screen, which has our to-do list for today. Oh, which reminds me, see, I came prepared today. Y'all got to check in. So go ahead and take a chance to do that. And like I said, today is Tuesday. So what we're going to do today is we're going to find a shark tracker website. I've already pulled up a Google link on the next tab over here. We're going to investigate the data because as future data scientists, computer visionists, machine learning, people working with data, people working with software, you should always learn to inspect your data. So we're going to get a little bit of extra understanding of what we're working with. But the question then remains is if we can find the data, how is it presented to us? Is it, sorry, I have allergies, / I guess my nose is already starting its rebellion against Global Hack Week again. But if we get JSON data, as in we're not able to access the API, maybe we don't have a key, maybe we can scrape the website. And so we can put that into JSON data, maybe we can put that in a database, and maybe we can write an API to access said database, both to write to it and to read from it, or maybe even edit it, because as we know, sharks move around. They'll surface again, of course, and so they'll have updated location pings in that data, presumably. I'm not saying this as if I searched it already or I already know the JSON structure. I kind of know the JSON structure. I don't actually really know it. The other option is we find an API. We don't need an API key, or we have a link to where they're pulling their data from, hence API, that we can just use that straight off the bat and use that for whatever we might end up doing. So the next question will be, what libraries will we need? I'm going to want to solicit ideas from the chat about what we could possibly use with it. So there's obviously Google Maps, which I didn't put, which is actually being used by the one that I'm aware of. But maybe we want things like data visualizers, or maybe want to do other things or other ways to interact with the data. So we'll brainstorm some of that, and then we'll also probably, to avoid getting my IP blocked by this poor database slash API or whatever we end up using, we're going to download some data just so that we have something to play with. We'll save that in like a local storage. Hello, people are joining. I'm going over what we're doing today. We'll be messing around with the data. I, again, really, really like scripting with Python, which is why we'll be using that today, where I actually somewhat know what I'm doing, but we're also going to build on the knowledge that I already have. And then we'll also be setting up Flask, because I don't know how to use Flask. So we are learning together. And if you already know, I encourage your advice, suggestions, maybe shortcut links or tutorials that you really liked. Those would be awesome, because we'll be getting into that on Wednesday based on the ideas that we come up with of what are we going to do with our shark tracker. So preview of Wednesday, again, Flask, playing around with that, learning about it. And then Thursday, really just digging into implementing things. And so at this point, I want to solicit ideas from y'all by kind of figuring out, okay, so we know that there's other APIs out there that would enable us to repeat the project I did ages ago, where we text someone based on their location, that there's a shark that surfaced in the last X days, and it's however far away. And so we'll make it fun and do like sharks in your area, kind of like those terrible ads you see in inappropriate websites, or when you're leading into things that are sketchy. Yeah, we're making it a fun thing. You know, you don't want to catch yourself off guard. But there might be other uses. It might be that maybe you are a biologist who really wants to follow this one shark or something, and you want to keep track and start saving data over time of the shark's passage. Maybe even want to track it along with Google Maps. So there's lots of different applications. I don't actually know what the current shark tracker application does, the one that's genuinely created and posted by, I think, some ocean research laboratory. So we might end up recreating a lot of their features, but it is good for our understanding and figuring out, okay, we have data, now what? How do we make it meaningful to the rest of the world? Or how do we have fun with it and make it something that's more engaging? Figuring out how to inform the public about things is a little bit teaching children and making sure that it's engaging. So currently it's the site that I'm thinking about, the one that I pulled up, is actually quite engaging because it gives you all these stats. You can figure out what sharks are around, what they've done, etc., their weight, they're like everything really. But part of data means there's more ways to interpret it. So for those who are new, who have not joined my last Global Hack Week bonanza of streams that were back to back almost, at least back to back by day. We're doubling that this time. Now I've got 2 sets of 3 streams where we're doing 2 different projects. So feel free to join me on the travel dashboard that I'll be making in a couple days. There's a story behind that one too. But for those that have just joined or who've never seen me on stream, I'll give you the spiel that I've given the last time, which is that I'm a PhD student studying hackathons, which means that about 7 to 8 months of the year, sometimes 9 months of the year, I don't actively program as much as I used to. The 3 months of my summer internship, I'm programming intensively. So these sessions are as much for me as they are for you, in that you get to see a PhD student retrain themselves how to program, but you also get to jump in with your knowledge. I really encourage open knowledge sharing. So if I'm making a mistake or I'm doing something funky and you're like, why are you doing that? There's this other more efficient library out there. Definitely recommend it. Yes, I am a real PhD student and I still need to graduate. But yeah, so the point being, I really encourage people like giving me extra libraries that maybe I'm not aware of. So that way we can learn together. And then because I do have a background in programming, There are times that I know shortcuts or I'll pick up stuff pretty fast, and you are still welcome to ask questions because I'm happy to explain it. So yeah, so let's jump in. So as I said, we're starting off, let me also zoom in so everybody can see. We're starting off with just looking at what existing shark tracker / shark data is out there. And so right off the bat, we have that app that I was mentioning. We have the app on the store, Google Play. We have a couple smaller ones that are probably pulling from the same main API up here, osearch.org. We're going to go ahead and jump in there. You can tell that I've already fiddled around with this site, but as you can see, it's loading up all this whole map of the water baseline, or the base water map, so you can see the topology of what the ocean looks like if there's no water in it, which is nice. You can see that there's for seals, they have listings of surfacing of various other aquatic mammals or animals, maritime beings, and the like. And we really just want to focus on sharks, but that gives us some information about what data they're pulling for us. So for all we know, we could pivot and not do a shark tracker, and we could do a seal tracker or turtle tracker or whatever else they're tracking. Another question is like, all right, they have all these different ways of displaying the data. It looks like they have turtle icons up here. Looks like a shark over here. More turtle, shark, news. You can see, hey, we have an MLH coach with that name. They were presenting earlier. Can we find all the MLH coaches in the shark database or in the maritime animal database? I believe in the dream. And maybe that's something we do, that we had Easter eggs for MLH names that we come across too. But yeah, so they are currently displaying data to us on a map, telling us like how we can zoom in or zoom out of things and all these different. Oh dear, that takes a bit to load. Cool. We're gonna make it more efficient than that. All right, so I'm picking up Jekyll, which is a white shark. I know y'all might not be able to see this. Let's see if I can't zoom in some more. So it looks like we already have data that is tracking when it surfaces, and so we can get a decent timeline, which is also super helpful for any possible things we might want to do. We get information about it, how old it is. At tagging, it looks like it was a juvenile, and this is a cute little animation. And it gives us also some information about the Z-ping. Today I learned. But yeah, so we can see all sorts of different information about it. So now that we're getting familiar with our data, let's see where they're getting it. So I'm going to right click and go ahead and hit inspect. And so it'll bring us to our photo. And so normally I might just on the main page hit inspect, but I decided I didn't want to waste everybody's time, so I did this a little bit ahead of time. The way I first start looking for data and where it's coming from is actually just interacting with the HTML. Trying to figure out, is it injected or like was it created from a template? Which you'll start to kind of realize when you see these words here. Like there's these weird class names, animations that are going on. When you work your way up from information, you'll get, I wonder that you'll be able to see this. There we go. So there's links. And so I'm usually looking for links when I go through HTML pages, just to be like, can I just snag this info like right off the bat? So it looks like they're using some stock photos for sharks rather than, oh no, wait, actually, no, I think that is a picture of the shark. Okay. So here's a link. Let's deconstruct this URL. Media.mapotic, CDN, CGI, image, metadata, blah, blah, blah. Tells us the size, the crop. Alrighty, here's some information. What does this give us? So we're deconstructing this link. Okay, so now we have this public ridiculous URL. .dev, media, image, geo, 3413. Let's just start backing this link up. Let's see what it gives us. If they've done it right, it's going to tell us an error. Yep. But maybe sometimes still no. Okay. Lesser developed websites, you can get a whole directory, especially if it's an image database. Yeah, they're doing it smart. Good. That's good security. But this is one way that you might be able to fiddle around with getting access to more data, is clicking links, deconstructing them, etc. So it's a very manual process. And of course, there is another way, which we'll talk about. But mostly I wanted to show you the different ways you can go about this. And so way back when, this was actually how I originally found the data. This site was not this well formed. It was, I was able to just download a whole JSON file. just straight off of their stuff, which was bad. But obviously, technology has improved since then. Now, obviously, it's getting served by a server. We see router outlet, server app, all these different information really kind of hints at, yeah, they're pinging something to pull the data from, and they're not actually just saying, like, every time someone loads this page, they are also downloading JSON data that's stored in their cache. So let's go ahead and back up. That obviously was not working. So we're going to go ahead and go to network. You can see I was fiddling around. I was trying to find JSON because usually that's the thing that everybody uses on websites. So I'm going to go ahead and restart. And so it's already should be filtering for me. So as you can see, it reloaded everything. We've got a pretty long list of numbers, empty.json, ocean map. So if we wanted to, we could investigate it a little more. So let's pull this out so we can really get into it. And now we can start deconstructing what we're looking at. So sorry. So we have the request URL. We'll be looking at that with everything that we're fiddling through or like flipping through. Right off the bat, I'm gonna ignore the empty.json because they went so far as to have server content sent to this website to how it's being presented to us. Empty JSON probably means empty JSON. But these numbers are kind of strange. Let's see. So now we're getting tiles. I'm guessing this is probably the rendering of the map for the ocean or something else, or it's just an empty bracket. Cool. Lovely. Let's see if we can pick a different one and see if we can't get anything. But they're all coming from this, oopsie daisy. I forgot an H. They're all coming from this tiles website, right? Okay, once again, empty. All right, so we'll give up on that. Looks like they're getting issues. So what about one that actually gives me a status code 200? Okay, still empty. All right, so we're getting 302s. It's not a problem, but it's not, 200 success. And if I really wanted to, I would go through all the HTTP request statuses and tell you all of them, but I don't want to because I don't feel like learning that right now. We'll learn it when we need it. But there is a method to the madness with those. So right. Empty, skip. Numbers, skip. Ocean-based map, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for shark data. We don't want the ocean-based map, at least not yet. But it looks like they're using ArcGIS for that, which if you end up using map stuff, you will often interact with ArcGIS. If you're ever working with geographical data, satellite images, that's the place to go. I once upon a time used that for computer vision because we were labeling parked cars in a parking lot, trying to identify cars from a satellite image. So that's an application of that. Alrighty. So the only two weird ones are config.json and this question mark h equals 10. So let's go ahead and go to the list link. And you can see that I'm, manually holding and copying. I'm sure there's a way you can probably click those and do that, but cool. That doesn't tell us anything. Is exhibition true? Not useful for right now. Okay. So this, however, reads like an API, mostly because it has API in the name. But we see that Mapotic again from where we got that image link. That was in the image link. We also have API version 1, maps 3413, POIS, .gojson. So anything that follows after a question mark with an API link, especially, is usually going to designate some sort of filtering condition or some argument that we want to potentially limit the data being sent or some other things. So this is the most likely thing to be our API. So I'm going to go ahead and share it in chat if you all want to take a look. It is going to take a while to load because I realized that the shark data was a lot. So that's also why I went ahead and started searching things. So that way, if it did take forever to load, I would already have it up. And I do. So let's go ahead and put this on screen. Go ahead and zoom in. Okay. So as you can see, we have OSearch POI GeoJSON list. It has a GET request. It looks like it's using a Django REST framework. Good for them. We're not using Django this time around. I still don't know how to use that either, but we'll get there one day too. We might actually be using Django for the other project that I'll be working on later this week. But as you can see, we have a sample output of quite a lot of information. We have the type, we have the features, properties, we have name, Gray Lady. They're published. Category name, sharks. Alrighty. Here's all that stat information we were seeing. The length, the weight, where they were tagged, the last time they moved, stage of life, and then, oh, here we go. Here we have the image again, that link, including a path directly to it. So we ended up finding these 2 links already. So, at least variations, of course. So what else can we figure out from this? Okay, so it's starting to repeat here. Okay, geometry, properties, sharks, more information about it. Okay, so we're starting to see some consistency. I also just realized I goofed up on some streaming. Gonna go fix that real quick. Whoops-a-daisy. Alrighty. Alright, so we've got lots of information, which is super helpful. What we could do, like I said, is copy and have something to work with that we constantly load in as a file so we're not constantly picking this API. As you start getting used to working with APIs, you'll find that you will be limited, rate restricted, or told that you only have a certain number of instances you can call that API. So in some cases, it might be you can only call the API 15 times a second. Because at that point it'll block the IP the request is coming from temporarily, such that you therefore cannot get information because the server you might be pinging might be like, hey, I'm about to be doxed. I'm not going to allow any more requests from this IP to protect myself, so that way the server isn't overloaded. So that's one instance. Another thing is that if you have, say, 1 million requests from many different different IPs, then you run into the issue of server load, and that costs money. So especially if you are using a remote server to host, say, your website, and you magically become a millionaire overnight and you're very popular and receiving a number of hits on your site, you'll find that your site starts to slow down. And so you'll have to pay, particularly if it's a remote server, to handle that load. You can always, build your own system, etc. But there are a number of ways you can go about it. So we do not want to block ourselves yet. So while we're developing, we're going to save, we're going to refresh. Every time we retest our code, we're risking the chance of calling that API. So if we make 3 edits in like 2 minutes, and that's enough to set it off, that's going to be problematic for the rest of our project. So again, we have a pretty consistent amount of data. We can just copy the first 3, 4, 5 or so. We know that we're going to get a JSON, so we're going to go ahead and save it. And I've already set up our project. So this is not in GitHub. We are starting stone cold because that's the best way to ensure that people get that I am learning along with them. So that way people aren't assuming there's a tiny bit of pre-work. And by that, I mean have conda. But you can also use VN with Python if you'd like. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. And by well, I mean I'm tired and I'm kind of hungry. I have dinner in front of me, so I might eat that in breaks. But how are we doing so far? Have I lost anyone? Is anyone concerned? Has questions? Is like hurry up? I definitely would prefer to hear feedback rather than read feedback rather than radio silence. Subsystem. No, we don't do that. So tell me in chat how we're feeling, how we're doing. If we need to speed up, we can, but there is a limit to my speediness. But I'll go ahead and save our data. And we're gonna do shark data.json. So that way we have a temporary copy, so we're not pinging this all the time, but we are still going to copy this info and save it. I'm gonna delete that. We'll just make a new file. And we're gonna go ahead and comment that out and save this shark pie. And so now that we know that that's the case, we know that we're going to want some libraries. And this is where I wanted some feedback. Notice that chat's pretty quiet, so I'm guessing no questions. We're going at a good speed. But now I do need some activity, which is what libraries might we go look at? What might we try to use with our Python scripting just to interact with the data and then see maybe how can we apply it in different places. So I already mentioned Google Maps earlier because Shark Tracker was already using it. We are going to need a JSON library, probably something to do with HTTP requests, and I know there are libraries for that. I'm going to go ahead and close these tabs, but in the meantime, any library ideas? They don't have to be Python specific. They can be JS based, and maybe we can find an alternative. I'm going to go pull up these libraries while y'all post in chat. Python HTTPS request. Yep. This sounds familiar. Request.get. Looks nice. Looks simple. We'll add that. We'll have to download that in a moment. I also said JSON, Python JSON library, and Python Google Maps library. Google Maps and JSON. I think this is an internal library. Yes. We are also using 3.10 because I didn't want to use the most recent. And that's just import JSON. So we'll put local, there's an inherent order to libraries that I'm derping on. So there's a priority order when you're trying to be efficient, and we're not going to actually do that, but I am going to explain it. When you are importing libraries, I believe you want to import your non-local libraries first because they will take the most amount of time. Right now, we're not doing any form of parallel processing, which would allow us to do like, oh, here's our local libraries, here's our not local libraries that we need to go out and download and have those processed at the same time. We're not doing that. At least in C, I know it matters. Python still probably matters, but anyway, we'll just do it this way because we already know some of the things. And then what else did we want? We wanted Google Maps. Google Maps. We will probably want geocoding, geolocation, maybe time zone, static API. What is the difference between these? We're going to need a map key, which means I may have to pay for that. Skim, skim, skim. Let's go read what these libraries do. Just so I can see. Convert attitude places to longitude. That seems useful. Geolocation, billing, detail. Okay, this does not seem to need billing. This seems to need billing. Ooh, but this is phone stuff. We will hold on that. Time zone API. I don't think we really need to worry about times for now. Google Maps image on a website. So this is just to see things. We'll save it for later, but it's less important than the other two. Still no questions or suggestions in chat. Are y'all busy Googling libraries like I am? Need that. Oh, I'm gonna need to also pip install these. Humor me, actually. Chat is slowly waking up. Yes, I did see that the IST folks are just waking up. Good morning. Good evening. Good afternoon. Y'all are all over the place. All right. Suggested Python libraries. Let's just go there. That's for data science. 10 Python library. Nope, data science. Data science. Data science. Data science. Most popular scientific libraries. What else could we get information-wise? AstroPy. Ooh, that's an idea for a future project. BioPython. Also curious. Actually, computational biology and bioinformatics. Maybe. Good morning. Okay. Ooh, visualization libraries. Ooh. Save for later. I don't know how we're going to use it, but we're going to try. Cubes. Reporting analytic. Nah. Apparently no. Deep. Genetic algorithms. No. Computation. Not yet. Graph tool. Neat, but no. Matplotlib. Nah. No. No. Statistical learning. Save for later for me. PipEnv. We already have pip. PsychoPy. That is a special name for this library. PySpark. We're not using Apache. PyTorch. SQL Alchemy. We could maybe use that if we wanted to pull the data and just periodically update it. Sage Math. No. Nope. Future stuff. SunPy. Ooh, heliospheric data in Python. I don't need that right now. Tomographic data. What's that's not the point of this. Oh, we could have used Beautiful Soup if we weren't able to get either JSON or API data. Beautiful Soup is super good for when you're scraping. Scrappy. Plotly is also pretty good. Yes. So right now we haven't made a GitHub repository because we're still putting the initial things together. So there will be a repository by the end of this session. And then we'll be accessing it from then on for the rest of the stream sequence. Set of streams. Technical track. Words. There will be after this. But for right now, we're just looking at what libraries to use. We're, like I said, we are starting stone cold. So I rely on chat to help guide me in that. They're in different directions. So it makes it a project that we all put together rather than just me showing how a project comes together, which makes it a little bit, I think, different in my opinion. In that it's less of a tutorial and more of a we are learning together. We are struggle bus together. Let's not talk about my bookmarks bar. We're just not going to talk about it, which I've only just started using after losing my tabs on a regular interval. Shame. Ooh, data visualization. Save for later. I will need that for the other streams that I'm doing. Okay, these are all data science. So we got a couple libraries, not most of them that we really need for this one. Bioinformatics. What do you do? BioPython. Paper data structures. This means nothing to me. Therefore, it's not useful. This was for other stuff. We might use this, actually. And these are for other stuff. Okay. So we're not really making much progress with suggested libraries. So let's go ahead and download everything we need and get things going. Let me go ahead and zoom things in. Okay. So we have JSON requests. I may need to install this. Do they have anything? Yes, they do. Will it just let me do it from here? Yes. Good. JSON's already installed. Google Maps. Is there a way I can just download the pieces I want? Or do I have to download the whole library? It looks like I need the whole library. Darn. We'll do that too. Okay. And if we want to use Google Maps services, install-u key 2.4 geocoding import Google Maps. Google Maps. All right. I'm gonna do some blank stuff. Oops, a daisy. I meant to do that. All right. Let's go copy some file reader stuff while we're at it, so we can open that shark JSON. Python open and read file, because I don't remember. I know it's the open function. I just want to copy the code. I don't want to think too hard about it. Great. Oh wait, no, I can actually do this with the JSON. That's why I downloaded the library. Duh. We didn't have to do that. JSON. Give me the file. Oops. File. Basic usage. I don't want command line usage. Dump object. Dump string. Serialize object. Load. Here we go. There we go. That's the one I wanted. Okay. Python.load. And then I'll just increase that so y'all can read what I'm reading. Here was JSON loads. Serialize. No, I want a file instance. FP file. A dot read supporting text containing. So is that just shark data? We're gonna Google that. JSON read file Python. Just to make sure. I don't like Geeks for Geeks for that very reason. Stop with the ads. I have so many ad blockers and yet none of them work. Give me file. Yes. Okay, so I still got to do this. I have to open the file object. Hello. So if you check in, and I posted the check-in link earlier, let me go pull that back up for you. If you go check in at this link, and you are good to go. Fine, we'll just copy this. Shark data. Yeah, that. Great. Okay. Read as f data.load. Data doesn't exist. I make that none. And then we're gonna just print data because I want to see that it works. We're not quite using these just yet, but I do want to see that the library works. So, what is the dolphin equivalent of Bahaj? That's worth a Google. There you go. There's your answer. Blavingod. Blavingod. Okay, back to it. I wonder if it's gonna. Nah, we'll try it anyway. Okay, save, run. You want to make sure this stuff works. Run without debugging for now. If it doesn't work, we'll. Yep. Knows. Existence. Still not gonna find, is it? Again? Until I haven't done this in a while. Different error. Hello world load. Expecting value string. Data JSON left. Data equals nothing JSON. But decode. Decode extracting value from none. All right. Now I get to teach you all the debugger. Alrighty. I just said run with debugger and I put a breakpoint. And now instead of hitting play or continue to just go to the end, we're going to jump over every statement. So we saw that that worked. And now we're going to wonder what happened there. With the JSON file, it doesn't need. Shouldn't need either of these. Read my data. During handling of the above exception, another exception occurred. Is there something wrong with my file? Possibly. Yes, I forgot to close JSON. Like a person who forgot how JSON works. It's Daisy. That doesn't seem right. Something's wrong there. All right. This is why you have parsers or linters, because they help fix your problems. All right, so we're also missing a bracket, and that should fix everything. Yay, all the brackets are happy. Okay, let's try that again. Run. Start with that with debugging just for giggles. Okay, now we can check the values in the buffer. Loaded that. Print data. Sorry, that was really loud. But we have data now. Great. Now let's fiddle. Okay, so we have this data now. It looks disgusting like this, which is a giant block of text. Let's go mess with it. So we know from looking at this stuff that we have features. So instead of printing data, I like playing with data because I want to understand the structures that I'm working with, so that way I'm not in debug cycle forever. And also because it will give me ideas of how I want to represent the data. So let's go ahead and play with that. So for Shark in data features, because we pulled that from that, I don't need until I've been working with Java/PostScript. That doesn't seem right. Just print Shark. I want new line stuff. Get rid of that breakpoint. Go ahead and run without debugging because now we know it works. Type feature. Oh, maybe this is done differently. Now, this is why we're doing this. Okay, no, we have type features, and we have features, and we have this. Holds all our sharks. Oh, but there's more items in it. What happened? No, this is fine. Okay. And then we have type feature, geometry, type. Okay. No, we're good. We're good. It did what I wanted it to do, which is that it's separated. Now we have the individual objects. So now let's dig deeper. So we know that we have the shark object. Rather than doing that, we're going to go even deeper. Shark exception. And instead of what could we possibly want? We might want the geometry, which is the longitude, latitude, which is their coordinates, but we probably want their properties. So instead, for each shark, we're going to print the properties. And I'm going to run that again. So as you can see, because I'm running this so often, this is why you don't want an API request yet. This is a good way to play around with stuff before you start pinging that API all the time. But as you can see, we are now getting individual information. We have the ID. We have the last update. Now I want pretty formatting. So we're going to comment that out because we know that one works. But what we really want is name. And then we want shark. And we know we have to use properties if we want to get to each thing. And then we want the sub object, which we said was name lowercase. I hate that this is showing me things that I don't want. We don't need the slug or the category or publishing, and I'm just reading off the tags that are here, by the way. Rating. We can rate sharks. We could make Tinder for sharks. I'm gonna put that down. We can come back to that. Tinder for sharks. This is why you fill it with the data. You get ideas. Voting, none. Alright. We could totally do Tinder for sharks, though. We have all the information. We have their stats. We can write them funny little bios. Oh my god, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be so good. Okay. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a web app Tinder because it'd be funny. Or Bumble or whatever the friend version is. So you could be friends with sharks. Oh my god. Okay, let me finish going through this because maybe there's other stuff we want. I love this. I'm so happy. This is such a good idea. Oh, the only bitten one human. Oh, not sharks are friend. Or what's it called? What's the thing from Finding Nemo? Fish are friends, not food. I'm really bad at quotes. I'm probably wrong with that anyway. Can ChatGPT generate shark bios? I haven't used ChatGPT yet, so that would be a great opportunity to use it. Just to see what nonsense we get. Okay, so we have the name. What else could we want? Let's get stage of life, just because I want to know what we've pulled, see if we got a decent variety. That's another thing you want to be concerned about, or not concerned about, but you want to be aware of is like, when you copied that set of data, that subset, did you get enough variety that you can actually play with it? And the question is, you don't know until you fiddle with it, and that's why we're doing this. We're going through and we're understanding the data, so that way we know what we want to do with it later. We're also just gonna make this our life easier and copy. We're smart programmers who stage of life. And then copy this again. I know there's a command for this in Visual Studio that I'm blanking on. Something like Command D or something. Stage of life. What else? We do have the image data, but I don't want to do that. Yes, we'll just do gender. I appreciate that they said gender. I actually really do. And the reason for that is because biological sex is different than your gender. And you don't know if sharks choose their gender. Oh my god, yes. Yes. Okay, bio ideas though. Bio ideas. I love it. Come on. There you go. Only bitten one human on a humanless diet. Love it. Okay, let's make sure that works. Great. I love this. I was really worried we'd be too chill and that we would just remake that old app. But now I'm so much more excited about this. Oh, but what's a like better name than Bumble? What's a group of sharks named? Shiver. I have our app name. It's gonna be Shiver. Oh. Shiver, Frenzy, Herd, Cam, Shoal, Grind, Shoal, College. Huh? There's no conventional name used to describe sharks collectively. Fascinating. I feel like Frenzy is too strong of an app name. But Shiver, we can just knock off the E, and then we have Tinder / Grinder / Bumble and all the other variations of whatever apps exist out there. We're gonna name it Shiver because I said so. Burr. Shark go burr. School of Fish. They graduate and becomes a college of bigger fish. Okay. Well, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. Okay. We're not doing a mobile app because I don't want to make a mobile app. I really hate mobile apps. It's the one thing I won't go back to. It'll be a web app. Web app. These are just my notes for like future stuff. I do it in Flask because I want to because I don't know how to use Flask. Oh, this is exciting. Okay, cool. So we've got a bit of understanding of the data. Later slash like tomorrow. Okay, let me put a tasks. Yeah, between the stream. Isolate relevant shark data for shiver. There's what else could we possibly need? Oh, and we already have their profile image. Ah, yes. That's image. ChatGPT bios. I think it'd be funny. That's another API we can use, I think, right? ChatGPT API. Yep, looks like it. Great. Problem solved. So we are almost at the hour, and I want to take a quick break so I can eat a little bit. But if anybody has more ideas, please post. That's such a funny title. That can be this. That can be our code name for this. Can we just name it Fishing Frenzy though? Because like you're fishing for friends. Frenzy. Oh my god, we're doing great. I love it. I'm terrible. I really love bad puns. These are horrible puns. I'm mutilating people's ideas. The shark surf together. I like that as a tagline. Surf together. What else do sharks do? I mean, swim together. Something fishy. Okay, we'll stay with surf for now. Cool. I'm so excited this. Okay. Also, web design for web app. Cool. All right. So we have our data. We're gonna also go ahead and go dump our API request for the actual site in, so we can get that practice in super fast. And then we're gonna go ahead and for the next hour after my break, is watch me fumble around in setting up Flask because I have no idea what I'm doing. It's gonna be great. Promise. Get request Python. No, do I want? Oh no, they already do it. Fantastic. Copy. I don't know what that h equals 20 does. We can so if you happen to know there's the parameters that you want for an API, you can mess around with it. But I don't know what this h means. So yeah. And this is also wrong. I didn't copy stuff right. I don't want the headers, I want the body. Raw. I don't want the raw either. URL. Sure. Let's see what JSON gives us for giggles. And then we're going to just comment this out super fast. I'm too lazy to do a multi-line comment, as you can see. Which, I mean, this is a multi-line comment. It's just not the way it's supposed to be used because you're supposed to be following PEP standards, and I'm lazy. We also don't want this one. We want this API. But as you saw, we did not copy the beginning of that URL. Let's go find that. Did I close the tab? No, I didn't close the tab. I closed the tab, didn't Shame on me. Yep. Yep. I derped. Derp, 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 derp. Oh, search. There it is. Yeah, I can do Control T, but I don't know when I closed it, so it's just easier to look at my past stuff. And it looks like it's actually just that, so we're just going to copy that. It's that. We're going to see what that gets us. Where do you break or freeze? No JSON. Give me the whole thing. We're going to get blocked. There is no response. Do I need headers with this? Allow get head options, application type vary accept. I'm doing something wrong. Exit page. This is the reason I also loaded it, because it gets a lot of data. Let's go ahead and put a breakpoint and go see what the data is, so that way we know what's going on. Move that over. Alrighty. Hasn't called it yet, so we're gonna have to jump over that anyways. Jump. All right, let's take a look at X. We have the headers. Okay. We have the raw. Does it give us anything? Content decoders, headers, length or meaning, none. Reason, okay. Status. Gib. Is it just text? It's just. Okay. Okay. Restart. Play. There we go. Oh boy. Oh, wait. Did you only give me 20 sharks? What happens if I put 1 for the sharks? Run without debugging. Do you only give me? Oh no, that gave me the same thing. It clipped. What happened? Did it clip there too? Where was the last one posted? No, that clipped as well. Intriguing. We will return to this later. But for now, we have the request being used. And we'll comment it out. When we are ready to use this, we have everything we need. Thank you for bringing that back in chat for anyone who wanted to come back to the API that we're using. I'll go ahead and comment these. Okay, so we've tested our data, we've played around. I'm going to take a quick break, have some snacks / dinner, and then when I come back, we are going to be getting started with Flask. And by that, I mean I'm learning completely how to do Flask, because I have never done Flask. Exciting! Fun things ahead. See you in a bit. Hello. He eats you. Okay. Jokes aside, I have snacks now, so you will occasionally hear me munching on some popcorn, or not because I'll mute because I'm a nice person like that. Um, while I was also taking a break, I pulled up a um RESTful APIs limits works. Limit equals to a limit. That's useful. Sorry, got distracted. Um, thank you for testing that. That's useful, super useful information. Let me go make a note of that. So, right. So for the last hour, we were just investigating the data, investigating the API that doesn't really quite have documentation that we can work with. Which I did also want to show you something very briefly, which is that we could go up an instance. So right now we're in like a subset of the point of interest. We can go to GeoMap instance, and that's where we get everything data wise from OSearch. So that's where all the seals and turtles and every information is, which is super helpful. But what we're also going to be doing is finishing that recap. So for the last hour, we were investigating this API, fiddling with the data just to see like what can we do with it. Came up with the idea of Shiver, which is going to be a Bumble-like app for sharks trying to meet other humans, or something to that effect. That idea will still come and take shape over the next like few workshops and whatnot. But what we are going to be doing for the next 45-ish minutes is we are going to be setting up a Flask app. And by that I mean I found a tutorial which is actually pretty useful to be honest, to set up a Flaska app through DigitalOcean. So I'm going to share that link in case anyone has like wants to follow along with that rather than me because I'll just be following it briefly. I'll make some adjustments, of course, to start pushing in the direction of our application. But otherwise, that'll be you will already have everything, so you don't technically need to join like or find the GitHub or anything because we haven't pushed anything yet. We'll do that at the end. But let me also set a timer for myself because we only have 40-ish minutes and I don't want to run over. Alrighty. So I already have Flask installed. I am using Conda as my environment manager. There's also venv. I don't know if people actually still use that. Another option is that you can globally download pip and then install Flask through that. I would not recommend that, especially if you're familiar with Node.js, NPM, or any form of package manager, which is the magical thing that lets you just like do lots of versioning. So I'm using a Conda environment that I've set up. I'm using Python 3.10. And then of course Flask alongside that. So I should already have that running. And so for right now, we're doing a lot of copying. And the reason for that is if I copy and test repeatedly, things should technically still work. And then we can start messing around with things and actually make it like more what we want it to be. So let's go ahead and make a new file. It looks like they named it hello.py. We're going to skip that part because I don't want to do it. Skim. .py. Is this it? Okay. This is in their app.py. So we're going to name ours app.py because that is a good name for now. We're on step 3. Let me also move this so I can see chat. We're not going to run that yet because it's going to tell us that I can't find index.html because I'm like, this doesn't exist yet. So we're also going to go ahead and make that index.html. And we're going to go ahead and paste over that HTML as well. Save. Go ahead and full screen this because we don't need the API for right now. We also don't need terminal for right now. What am I looking at? Save file, use browser to navigate. We're going to need this later. I'll skip that one. Looks like we need a folder called static. And then in that static folder, we're going to want a new file. Oh no, we need another folder. Nested folder CSS. And then we're going to make a style CSS in there. Style.css. Alrighty. And then it looks like they have some default stuff. We'll also copy that over. Index. They change. Oh, they added the link. Okay, so we are quite literally building this manually. We're going to speed through this part. I need to copy this part. Then they have base. Oh, this is the template for Jinja. Okay. I do have some familiarity with Jinja. It's been a while since I've used it, but did they put this in the folder? Templates. Okay, that checks out. Templates. I know that it's like how it's used. I just oops. Base.html. I just haven't used it in a while, so it'll take a little bit to get back up to speed. Take advantage of inheritance index, and we're gonna just replace that. Okay, great. Control A, replace. Are we resaving it as anything? No, we're not. We're not doing the database part yet. We might just to fiddle with like learning how to set up a database internally, but this instructions already does it that we don't need to. App.py, they put this import statement, which we already have. We don't need the database connection. Connection to the database, don't need that either. New version, index. We're not copying the oh wait, was that also? Hang on. Index.html. Where did you put index? That was in the templates. Okay, let me go move that. Okay, good to know. Great, so that's done, and then go back to where we were, which was extend. Oops, that's not what I wanted to find. Extend, so that way we can see what it did. Okay, so we skipped the database. We skipped displaying posts. We're not making a blog. Database. Post. We're gonna skip that real quick. All right. Don't need this yet. Let's go ahead and go test really quick. Everything's saved. We copied everything. Let's go see how to run it. What did you all do? This is further up. Pip install Python, blah, 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 nano, export. Export Flask app equals in your web application, defining the application file, Flask app environment variable. App, I'm guessing. Run it in the environment. Excuse me? What? What? Okay. Routes. Create app instance, use it, blah, blah, blah. This is how it works. I want run web application first, tell it where to find it. Why do you not let me export? Did I type it? Or is it because this is supposed to be done for something else? Okay. Export, I think, is okay. Flask Windows tutorial. That's probably what's going on. Visual Studio Code. Maybe we should have searched that first. Python -m Flask run. open. Oh, duh. Help if I type the correct thing. Ah, there we go. Let's copy this. Huzzah! We have made Flask. We are success. We're done. That's it. That's the stream. Goodbye. No. Okay, cool. Let's go mess it up. Do I need anything else in this tutorial? Run the app in the debugger. That's useful. Later though. What else did they do? They did now straight time match object. No, we don't need the regex. Hello there, breakpoint def. This is other routes. Where is routes? Routes is app.py. Okay. To understand, I'm gonna fiddle where I don't actually know how routes work for I know them in like React and whatnot, so I'm assuming it's the same concept, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Let's do sample. Test is better. It's shorter. Test A. And render template. And we're going to also do index.html just to see if I... Oh, you know what? I'm going to make a test HTML. And then we're going to go make a test HTML here. We're going to leave that for now. I want new template, test.html. And then what we really want is to go... I'm going to just copy this and strip it down. Require blah, 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 blah. I don't want to use Bootstrap. Block title, then that's fine. Navbar, we'll keep that. Container, block content, and block jQuery. We're going to delete all those scripts while we're at it. I don't want them because I'm testing. What else? Navbar, it's probably actually not going to work because I've just deleted. Actually, yeah. So then we just want to delete this whole thing. Cool. We're going to do header, H1, I'm sorry. Hello world. Header 2 is a subtitle. Shiver begins. And then let's go ahead and see if that updated. Okay, and I should be able to just go and test. Not entered. Let's restart the server and run it again and see. There we go. Okay, so that means I'm going to have to restart the server every time I want to run this. I'm sure there's some extension or some way I can start this that it auto runs when I make changes, but I'm in no rush to do that. Cool. So we have the beginnings of our Flask stuff already set up. Cool. That took like 10 minutes. Great. Let's keep going then. Let's put this in a lower corner. We can switch to. What else do we want? Flask blog. Header. What would be a good idea to do? So, this took a lot less time than I thought, so now I'm like trying to pivot and actually occupy y'all's time with meaningful stuff and not just me rambling forever. I do welcome ideas from chat, as always. So we were talking about Bumble for sharks, making friends. But we don't have a design because I didn't think I would be done this fast. Like, it makes sense. I just have to make the templates, but I need a design to do the templates. And I'm like, this is not a design stream. So that I have introduced my own wrench. Well, actually, what I don't know how I'm going to do this is adding in that accessing the file bit. So let's go Google that. Let's full screen that. Flask. What's the right Google term that I want? I want to access the JSON file that I have. Which means I need a template for the JSON data, which we can do with Jinja work, and another template for sharks. We'll make a shark card actually as a Jinja base. So let's go back also to our plan so we can write that down really quick. We're also Jinja shark cards. What else was I gonna do? I wanted to Google Flask JSON import file. Flask load local JSON. There we go. Import OS from Flask import URL 4. Interesting. Dynamically, you get your static directory includes app.root path. Flask is different directory. Let's use this for now, but I wonder, I don't like this OS use. How do we do this without using OS? Static file. Sure, maybe Reddit has some information. I'm dumb. That's okay. We're gonna just deal. Open URL no. No, it seems like they all need to use OS. Okay, that's good to know. Import local file without OS library. Can I import JSON? Yeah. When was this answered? 4 years ago. That's probably why they're using OS. Serve static files in Flask. Here we go. Still OS. This is 4 months. Asked 9 years and 3 months ago. Modified 4 months ago. App.route reports path. In production, continue the HTTP and Nginx Apache in front of your app patch. There's static folder. Dedicated web servers good at serving static files efficiently. They probably won't notice difference compared to. No, we don't need that. Flask creates a static path file name that will serve any use URL for static file. URL for. This seems to be what we need. Can also use send from directory, takes basic changes. Useful in cases you want to check something such as if the user. Oh, we're gonna need a login screen for shark stuff. I'm gonna make a note of that too. Anybody know any good auth libraries? You can go ahead and post in chat if you do, but in them, do not use send file. Send static uses supply pass directory traversal. What are directory traversal attacks? Exploits, insufficient security, sanitation, user supplied file names, operating system. Yeah, we don't want that. Good to know. So we're gonna do send from directory. I'm gonna copy that. Okay. So we need to copy this part. Put that after render template. We don't need this anymore. Let's call this, but we don't. Oh, that's if we wanted to. Wait. Path. How are they doing path? Path colon. Oh. Ooh. I don't like where this is going. We're going to replace this, obviously, but I'm not thrilled with this as it is currently. And the reason for that is mostly like security reasons. F support path. Okay. Let's see if that does anything. What that does more specifically. Let's go ahead and open up that. And we want reports path shark data.json. Maybe I wasn't supposed to put path. Not working, which means I typed something wrong. Okay, what do they actually do? App equals. That looks useful. Come back to that. Fragment no cover. OS absolute path. File name. Get stuff. Get metrics. Get file. Mime type. Defaults path. Absolute path. Maybe we can just delete that part then. Send from directory. That might be one of the issues. We don't have a directory. Did they do send from directory? No. Server files different. No. Use URL for. They also suggest this. Also use send from directory. Static file name. File name is sharkdata.json. What's the difference in the way these work? Different directories serve files from a directory to your own root. Just takes both paths. We don't want to do that. I don't even think we need to do that. What if we just return and comment that out? And then we need to comment that out, URL 4. What does that do? Probably I don't expect it to work, to be honest. Let's do it again. Oops, that one doesn't obviously work. Okay, we have that working, and we wanted sharkdata.json. Does not work. Okay, what if we do path? Still don't work. Maybe we don't want to do that as a root in the first place. So how would we load it in? Let's go back to Jinja. All right. Class name, static path, web templates, move the location. No, okay. Folder structure. That is minuscule. Okay, so they have web files, they have their static files, CSS, fonts, JS, templates, which that's their stuff. Then they have gitignore, modesync, collab filter, content filter, database. Interesting. Okay. Static folder at the root of your project. Oh, well, that might be it. Let's do a static folder. It's because I did that. We don't need another one. We'll just move Shark into static. No, I would really like to move it into static specifically. Yes, move. Okay. So we have that moved there. Maybe it'll work. Maybe not. Static food bar. How do they reference it in the route? Do they put it in? Do they put static? Parts. What if we do send report? That's the parameter. Okay, yeah. So then it should be probably that. Let's also we'll test that again. Okay. Close this. Run that again. Refresh. Nope. What am I doing wrong? I don't understand what I'm looking at. So, all right. This isn't a root, and I don't want to use it as a root. So that's not working the way I want it. That's okay. Let's go ahead and make more templates. Specifically, we want card.html. And then let me also put this into the side window. We don't need that. How did they do? Leave that as is. More specifically, block title. Oh my gosh. Block title in block. How does index work? Index, block title, and okay, so this is injected over here. And base is the one, because this extends base. So this is where they... Where do they get block title from? Yeah, actually, where's block title coming from? Unless it's just empty content. Okay, let's go back to that Docker tutorial I was using because they had a couple things about templates for cards, and I want to retrofit that. Let's see, database skip. Here we go. This is their cards. All right. We don't want to save. I don't need to save those changes. We do want this. So we extend that. We have that. Interesting. This puts in all of those. Post and created. How do we update that? Where do they get that data from? Posts and render. Connection from an SQLite server. Oh. Content. This is them messing with the database. Create the table. Where did they create or pass in the data? Close return render template post equals posts. What is post equals posts? Close. You insert pass along posts as an object to the argument. Modify the index. What's going on here? Implement fetch all method. Okay, that's for the database. Rendering. Oh my goodness, I want to highlight, not zoom. Match all the rows. Close the database connection using close. Okay, I read that a million times. Pass post is an object as an argument. Contains the results you got. The database allow you to access. Can use a for loop to display each post. So specifically, that's this. This is their for loop they're referring to. For post and post for loop, Python for loop, and for sync over each item in the post list that was passed by index to return to sender post equals post. Okay, I understand now. Cool. Let's fix it. So now we have sharks. And then shark in sharks. And then shark. And then we also want some of the data that we pulled, which was rather than shark, we want name, edge primary. Oh, this is just CSS stuff we don't want for the moment. We want sharks. We want stage of life. Also, this is a time originally. So we're going to actually just do a paragraph. Devils on that side, and we're going to name it sharks, and we're going to add in, oh, it's properties. I forgot that. I didn't realize that the MLH stickers were now in Twitch chat. So neat. Such a tiny icon on that though. So tiny. So sad. All right, let's copy that. We are at the 15-minute mark, so we're going to probably start wrapping it up. But again, this was just for me to get familiar. I guess we're ahead of schedule by all intents and purposes. So we're going to hit the ground running tomorrow when I have an actual design put together. And then start pulling in more APIs and actually link back to that database, which thank you earlier. Where is the lovely human who did that? Yeah, the RESTful API limit works by using the limit parameter. Still don't know what H means, though. We'll probably investigate that or leave that as a homework assignment for someone if they're interested. But yeah, so we're making that super good time, which makes me really happy because that means we'll have more time to do more insanity. All right, block content, block tub, blah, 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 blah. For shark and sharks, we have properties, name. Let's make this H3. H3. We made this paragraph item. I'm gonna make these all spans actually within it. And I'm gonna just can't use keyboard. Paste. I'm gonna copy this. And for sanity's sake, do that. What I really want to see is the other information that we were gonna get. Okay, we don't need the slug or is published rating, voting, I do want to see what other information we might be able to get. So we're going to just do that. Okay. Rating. Voting. What other stuff do we have? Stage of life, species. Useful. What's we got? Domain, no. Gender, no. Image. We're going to need that. This can just be that. And then we're going to do image. Ooh, actually, we need to put that here equals. And, oh, is this not going to work? Oh, because it's not in HTML, maybe we can just. Something doesn't seem right. Maybe it's just one. Percent block content. Okay, to Google. Binge images. Image source. Dynamically render images. Image source. I don't want a static image. I have a link. Images. Use images in HTML. This is not useful. That's not useful. URL for no. But I don't have image path. URL. External link. Here we go. I am rapidly processing information to understand why I'm not getting the information that I want. I want to inject a URL. Here we go. Found it. A minute. A lot. Enough. It took enough. We are now back on track. I need two. Just that needs to be within quotes. And then what else do I need? We also probably should have some alt text for those who were a part of that accessibility stream. Shark image of, and then we want actually. I'll just use the name. We'll copy that. That alt text. It's great. Cool. And then what other information could we possibly get? Oh, length and weights are also very important. And we're leaving these all in spans for now. I'm going to regret this choice. I'm telling you now. We will quote me tomorrow when I hate myself for this because it will be annoying, but that's okay. Stage of life species. Do we have species? We do have species. I'm also trying to get as much as we can ready to be cleaned up in the in-between and then post it so that way everybody has the same starting point tomorrow when we dump everything else in. Tag location would be nice, actually. Tag location. Okay. We now have lots of information, and then we go to formatting, actually. Oh, we didn't track that. Presumably this is still in the same. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything to say that it's in its own little subcategory. Yeah, because that's closed. Okay, cool. So we have lots of information about sharks. Now let's go back to app. So this was under card. In card. Card. Wait, no, we want to index. So this should be card, actually, yeah. And then we also want sharks equals sharks. And then we need to name sharks is equal to this data that we got here. Let's see if I can get it to work for giggles. I'm going to tap that over, delete that, place this sharks. This on We don't have. So as you can see, this shark.py is gradually becoming irrelevant, and that's okay. We're going to come back to a lot of these things. We've opened the file. I wonder if it'll still work, but you never know. We'll know if it does work or it doesn't. Save, and then we're going to go ahead and restart the server. Restart the server. Thank you. What happened? There we go. Okay. We have a functioning page card. It isn't like that. Debug. Oh, I wanted to debug. Start with debug. Thank you. Restart because it already finished. Oh, that's good to know that it won't run because I didn't configure it. Canceled. Whoops. I guess I need to configure it to run in debug. Let's go back to that page. Run app in debugger. Replace contents with the following code. Adds a second route and function that you can step through. Huh? Decorator hello defines endpoint. Additional route is hello name business described. Automatic filtering, set breakpoint, toggle run, toggle breakpoints, run debug. Customize, run, and debug. I want to create a launch JSON file. Ooh, yes. Problem solved. Save. Play. Okay, and now we go back to our page. Hit enter. Enter. Okay, we're just gonna do that again. It's not doing it. Show me my debug. Get debug plus. Okay, Python. Let me show the launch JSON. Name that launch flask. App run no debugger ginger true code just my code. Okay, so that's all the same. And app.py. Okay, that's fine. Did that. They're doing hello VS Code. Pauses at the. Why? You know what? Let's go further. Let's stop. Oh, I didn't restart it. That would help too, wouldn't it? Okay, let's put this over here. We don't need visibility on this one. And then here's the window here. And then let's put up our page. That's the wrong window entirely. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let us examine. We refresh. We skip. I want to know what goes on in card. Am I printing this? For giggles. We don't need all these breakpoints anymore since they're really not. Okay, so that works. And then. Oh, it didn't. Yeah, Okay. All right. Maybe we're at a good point to start wrapping up while I investigate what's going on and why it doesn't like me. I don't think I'm able to print in routes anyway, but I just want to be able to get to the stuff I want to, and it's not letting me. Let's go ahead and restart. Yeah, the server's not up anyway. Well, that's because. Well, since we are wrapping up, as for what's coming up next, if you haven't checked in, let me go ahead and paste that link again once I find this. And then we're really gonna like jump into things tomorrow evening slash afternoon. I'll be on like an hour or two earlier. And so at that point, we'll be putting together the web page, potentially integrating at least one more API in, potentially even linking back to the original Shark data, and we'll start making it actually look like it's supposed to. Again, it is taking a little bit just because I've never used Flask before, so there's a lot of stuff I don't know. But I'm hoping people will be a little more awake, a little bit more interested. But I hope you had fun while you were here. And so what I will be doing until our next stream is making sure that I've picked out the data that we want to use, potentially generate some chat GPT bios, and some web design just because I'm like, I need to have like 2 hours of time that I'm not narrating everything to actually make good design for now. And then there'll also be a GitHub repo. So why don't we go ahead and also push that stuff while we're wrapping up. But happy to take feedback, comments, concerns, questions in the chat. Otherwise, how's Global Hack Week looking for you today? Would love to hear that while I go and set up GitHub stuff. Alrighty. We need to read me. Let's go ahead and close this debugger. New file. So far, it looks like people are having a pretty good day. At least one person is. I really like that username. Lovely tipping point. What a nice username. I certainly reach my tipping point regularly. Shark Tracker for GHW. API roll. I roll. Hey, why don't you tell me something you learned? Because I'm actually very curious. You say you learned a lot. Like, what's like the top 3 things? It can be APIs, but that's not very descriptive given the whole week is APIs. No judging, but um hey, I like that I'm your favorite so far. That's humbling. The It's not like chaotic like dimmers, but it's chaotic in the sense of I have no idea what I'm doing and reteaching myself. But I feel like there's also something in watching someone problem solve like in the moment. And I'm as real as you're gonna get in that regard, given that again I have not less experience, but like older experience. So my understanding is current, but my awareness is out of date. So you'll find me doing stuff very quickly, but then you'll also find that like I don't know about specific libraries that are now the thing to use, or that what I'm doing might be an out of date method because like things are not torturous to do anymore. Um, what else did we do? We pulled data, set up Flask, we played with cards for sharks. Do design website. Web app is more appropriate. Any other comments? Concerns? No sharks were harmed in the making of this stream, nor will they be. We only stand sharks in this stream. Appropriate. To do. what else do we have to do? Design web app. Data from JSON subset. Oh, I was not planning on it. I don't think the other resident in this house would appreciate that. They were unfortunately subjected to a number of hours of Baby Shark variations at one point a few years back. So I have generally refrained from having that in my song library, like mentally. I I, I don't want to do that to them. I mean, chat can sing Baby Shark. We got a couple minutes. All right. Let me also pull up our notes because that got super messy. What are we doing? GPT Sharp bios. Integrate at least one more API. Cool. I think we got most of the to-dos. I'll probably add more. Oh, right, a login screen. I love that chat's actually doing Baby Shark. All right, we got Baby Shark and Mommy Shark and Daddy Shark. Are there other sharks? I'm assuming we have to go through the whole family tree, you know? I'll have to log in. That's what I was typing. Wow, I zoned out on that one. It's also funny to watch my brain just process. Sometimes it takes nothing. Sometimes it takes way too long. Good. Status. I'm gonna need the git ignore actually for that. So git ignore flask. Here we go. This. Uncle Shark, classic. Aunt Shark, brother Shark, sister Shark, sibling Shark. Gotta be gender neutral. Git ignore. I'm like way faster on terminal, and this is kind of getting to my nerves actually. All right, git add dot and git commit. Initial dump. Shark. And let's go ahead and go to my repos. Create a new repository is not an option on my profile. That's awkward. New. Never actually finished. What rename it? Rename it something else. Grandma Shark. Grandpa Shark. Shiver. Whoops. Bumble for sharks. Public. Create. And then I'll post this in chat so everybody can fork if they want to get started on stuff anyway. I think we should be able to just push it. Yeah, that's what I missed. Upstream. Main. Link. Get pushed. Refresh. Hey, all right, let's go paste that link. All right, and with that, I think it is time to log off. That posted twice. That's okay. That's not my problem. Cool. Well, we made a lot more progress than I thought we would. Yes, I know an error occurred. You tried to post twice. Thank you, StreamYard. Yeah, so we made lots of progress today. I think we're going to make even more progress tomorrow while I review some stuff, get a little bit more familiar with Flask on my own time, put up that design, and then looking forward to what we come up with tomorrow. I'm sure it'll pivot another direction. It'll be just as fun as always. And if you aren't able to make it, of course, there will be a... oh, shucks. Yes, that we are at end of stream. Yes. So there are obviously more streams throughout this week. If you want to join me for the remaining two, I'll be gradually earlier and earlier over the next 2 days, and then Saturday starts the travel dashboard stream. And that we're just gonna just keep pulling APIs because I would really like to have a more enjoyable travel preparation time. Been through some travel trauma. Would like to handle that better by having an all-in-one dashboard for anyone who wants that. Yeah. So come check that out if you are able to later this week. Regardless of whether I get to see you again, I hope you have a great week. And yeah, bye.